to my third question. Your Springdale School is very famous for its experiential, collaborative, inquiry-based learning, teaching learning program. Not from today, it's from the time, I think, I know it for the last 20 years or more. And, now what I'm looking for is that this internal assessment and your modules that you have in your school, of course, you talked a little bit about it right now. Can you give a little more elaboration so that this goes a long way to other schools and the teachers? That how internally in your own school, I'm not talking about class 12 or 10th, I'm talking about rest of the school. What kind of assessments and what kind of internal evaluations should take place so that they feel comfortable? Children enjoy the way your children enjoy in your school. What is the word that you would like to give them and give them some kind of insight?
See, Usha, you have to have a visionary like Dr. Rajni Kumar, someone who is an icon. In my understanding, she is the greatest mentor that I have ever had, and I'm sure that you agree with me because
Yeah,
both of us have talked about her. And I think the fact that when she started this school nearly 70 years ago, and all these fantastic ideas of child being at the center of learning, and how a child evolves as a wholesome 360-degree personality, understanding the world with his own eyes, through his own eyes, and then internalizing the understanding of the world. And anything I can say about her is less. So she has brought in some amazing pioneering initiatives into Springdale's. And I have been so lucky to have worked with her. Of course, now she's nearly 98, but yet she tends to constantly advise. And I will say this, that in the last 20 years that I have been at Springdale's, I have been fortunate enough that we wrote the textbook for the CC. I personally wrote it in my school along with all of you. A group of us sat together and wrote that textbook. That, and traveled across India with the then senior authority of the government explaining CC. Today, I sometimes really miss it, and I think that actually that's what it is all about. It's about continuous comprehensive evaluation of a child without getting involved with marks. And so that is what Springdale's does. It does not have an examination. It has no exams from nursery right up to class 8, and if we could help it, we wouldn't even have it in class 9. And so this itself takes away the fear of the children of failing, or takes away the fear. Because you see, if you're constantly mining the minds of children for marks, there's always going to be that fear that I'm going to fail. So this whole policy that we've looked at each child's potential through what they do. And as I explained in my previous question, the rubrics are all centered around how children learn. And the rubrics are not 2 marks out of 5, 3 marks out of 4. The rubrics are in such a child-friendly manner that you're given the opportunity that when there is an annual day or there's a prize distribution, every single child comes on stage. Those children who have moved from, say, D to C, from C to B, from B to A, which means that we are constantly valuing children for bettering themselves. And so the rubrics are created in such a manner that there are cluster questions, there are questions which cater to a variety of people. In Springdale's, India is the classroom. It's a very heterogeneous place. We have a huge amount of children with disabilities that are there. We've always had children from the economically weaker sections. In fact, the government took it from us. We were the model school when they started the right to education, because as early as the 70s, Rajni Kumar brought in children scholarship schemes, and we used to give midday meals and food and clothes and books. The RTE is now. So Springdale's has always been at the forefront of humanizing of children at all levels and giving everyone an opportunity. And so the rubrics also are framed in such a manner, because this is a long conversation and I cannot get into the details of the rubrics, but the rubrics are going to be looking at the child through the lens of how he views the world in social sciences, through the lens of how does he look at poetry appreciation or creative writing in literature or language, of is he able to apply graphs and create a sort of report for himself when he applies mathematics? Can he plot a graph or a rainfall graph when he learns about maths? So, what is it that a child can do and give to the world after what he has learned? Can he or she extend his education to the world outside? Otherwise, what is it worth if we cannot serve people and if our education does not help and is able to extend itself beyond what a textbook is? So that is what Springdale's is about.
The best part is no examination, still the children excel. They
They
do
do.
so well in their board exams. The results have come out and they
Yes,
have done
yes.
very well. So it really, the rubrics, as you said, so teachers have been trained for that. So they know how they have to take them.
But you
I
know,
again
so,
come back.
but Usha, I want to make a comment here, and I want your view on this. You know, it really disturbs me that even now, the fact that children have, some of them, because of the pandemic, have only been able to give 3 papers or 2 papers, and yet we are just going on. I got the highest, and my child got
I,
100. I mean, this is ridiculous. In fact, these
I've been,
when
I've been talking
I
to
hope
all the,
I hope that you're going to not edit this part of what I'm saying, because it is
no, no,
so shocking. It is so, I mean, I'll be frank with you, it is so shocking that when a journalist rings me up and says, how many got 100? I said, what do you mean, how many got 100? For God's sake, they never attempted 3, 4 papers. So on what are they going to be judged? Are you trying to tell me that if they got 100 in mathematics and they got 100 in elective art, which they may not have given, what does it mean? Is there any, how can you, it's absolutely strange. The fact that the CBSE has been good enough not to release the merit list itself is a very great teller, because it says that let children be. Let's not get involved with how many topped and how many got 100. At least this year, with folded hands, I say, let children be. Let's get out of this competitive mold.
mindset has to be changed. If you
Absolutely,
see,
Usha.
if you talk to people, they're only talking about, and even the
Can.
schools, the
It's
so-called,
ridiculous.
big schools. That I said, how can you talk about my child got 100 or 100? Why are they good human beings? Do they understand what are we going through? What is the
Exactly.
system? If I give them a test, for example, evaluation separately, they'll not be able to answer because they have been prepared only that what you talked about, the rote
True.
learning.
True.
So they just vomit out and they feel that they've got 100 out of 100. I hope this changes.
I
Anyways,
hope so.
we are
I
there.
hope so.
So now my final one word I want from you is final word to the parents who are anxious to the core about the systems. So can you give them some kind of consolation? Say, we are all there with you. Do not feel anything because ultimately the education system is there. It's just for a short period, and ultimately your child is not going to lose or suffer. So word from you will certainly make parents feel very, convinced and comfortable because they are the ones who are very anxious. They are the ones who really want to know what will happen, how it will happen, what will my child do, will my child get these marks or not? All that is there.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very good question, Usha, that you've again given. Firstly, I want to tell you that even if a child, I may sound radical, but even if a child doesn't learn for 1 year, it's no big deal, because a child learns from so many other things. The point I'm making is stop worrying about this whole business of a learning gap. Please stop it. I will tell you personally that I was very ill once when I was a child, nearly for a year and a half. I couldn't attend school because I was practically bedridden. That did not affect me. Today I'm a principal and I'm talking to you. It never affected me. Slowly and surely things will get back to place. So I think we have to stop this obsession with my child is not going to learn. I mean, we're not even thinking that we've just come out of the vacations. Technically, nobody studies in the vacation. And yet those poor schools have been pushing and pushing and pushing, and teachers have been teaching. So please, right now, all I want parents to do, and all of us together, because we're in this together, is let's look at the mental health and the emotional needs of our children, ensure they don't get into a depression. Let's keep a joyful atmosphere in the house. Learning is happening. Your teachers are there helping you out on the online. They're going to be finding different ways and means of keeping you occupied. Most schools are telling you how to, most schools are involving themselves with yoga or with music or with, so it's not as though you have been abandoned. Just don't keep falling back on the old systems of learning. I mean, let's just get out of that. Let's just, be at peace with ourselves. That's all I said. Because it's a tough time for children. Because a lot, not because of learning, but because they view, see, children are very anxious. They start viewing, I haven't been to my school birthday. I haven't done my citation. There will not be a school party for me. I will not be in the annual day. So the schools are finding ways and means. I'm having assemblies, and I'm very happy. There's an assembly going on every 2 days in my school, and I'm there for the assembly at 8 in the morning. So schools are very, very creative, very innovative. They will find ways and means of ensuring that your child's potential and talent is revealed. But you have to stop getting anxious about that. I just want to tell you that, you know, uh, this pandemic has helped in so many ways. I say that it has leveled us. It has leveled us. Thankfully, that competition has gone. I mean, who cares whether you have a Mercedes Benz and I have a Santro? There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to wear. At the end of the day, what is there to buy? What is there to wear? I mean, as long as you're looking clean and neat, yeah, and you're alive and you're at peace, and you have a roof above your head and food on your plate, let's just be grateful. And gratitude is what children should learn. And gratitude is which should never ever be forgotten. So my friends, if you think you can walk alone, you may walk fast, but there's nowhere to go. So where will you walk? But when we walk together, my friends, it's an African proverb, we will walk far and we will be close. So let's just be close and walk far. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amita. So it's very clear that you have given a very nice message to be positive, to be understanding your child. The schools are doing their best. They will see to it. If at all your child loses something in this year, it doesn't matter. That's not the end of the line. It's going to be probably another. You have given your own example. So I'm sure with that, everybody will keep in mind that parents will feel at least now little relaxed that how things can change. It is just a matter of this year. Probably next year we'll have everything all right and things. And I must thank you on behalf of for your edification. You have been with us and you have enlightened everybody and given your views. And I'm sure people are really going to follow that and they'll come back. And if they have any questions or any queries, I'll come back to you.
Thank you so much, Usha. Namaskar. God bless you.
So much,
Thanks
Dr. Amita Mullah Wattal, for being with us today afternoon. You have so much of, I know there's so many other engagements after this, but still you have taken out time. Thank
Always
you so
for
much.
you. Always for you. Thanks, Usha.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Friends, for making education relevant, we had our guest, Dr. Amita Mullah Wattal, with us to take up the issues related to assessment, evaluation, examination, as she has been a part of the CBSE, NCERT, and various other organizations which are working on this particular issues, how to really take it up in a different manner during this COVID-19. The issues that we had taken up in this particular episode were related to how the assessment and the evaluation and examination system needs to be changed, because there is online teaching, there is how to do the evaluation, we cannot have examination, we cannot, but how to take up the assessment part, which in any case through projects, through mind mapping and various other issues that we had taken up, and that part could be really analyzed in a thorough manner. The second point that we had taken up was that how for the teachers it's very important to understand learning outcomes are very important. Not only actually for teachers but even for parents to understand. It is not complete, because they were all worried that 30% reduction in the content is there from the CBSE side. The courses have been reduced, the syllabus has been reduced. It's not that, because the connectivity is there, and that is what we talked about. The linkages are there, so nobody should feel that this is not there in the course and how they will complete, because the linkage is there. Either they have done it before or they'll be doing it later on, or it will be assessed according to the
projects or project work that they'll be doing, but assessment will be done. And people should have faith in the school's education system, because senior people are, educationists are sitting and working on this program. The third point which I had taken up with Amita was related to Springdale School, how they have their internal assessments. And that school has been famous, their school has been famous for not having examination up to class 8, but they still have internal assessment. They have the small unit tests in which the children are not stressed, but then ultimately when the children come out after 12th standard, they do very well. So that means the assessment system, the evaluation is in such a manner that it becomes student friendly, and examination, that fear of examination is not there, and she explained it beautifully. Then there was a word for the parents, that please don't get stressed, see that you're happy. If you're happy, your child also will be happy. The happy homes will really keep the mental health of children and their well-being intact only if we find everybody in positive attitude. These were the issues which we had taken up along with Dr. Amita Mullawat. And I'm sure you all have taken it and understood that how in a simple manner she has explained all these issues of examination, evaluation and assessment, which can be looked into in a different form altogether during this COVID-19. Thank you. See you again in the next episode.